Now we will proceed with our lecture. Guillain-Barré syndrome, also known as GB syndrome, as I've already told you, it's a rapid onset muscle weakness and it is caused by the immune system mistakenly attacking its own peripheral nervous system, and it is damaging the myelin insulation of the peripheral nerves. In this section, we are going to talk about the types and heterogeneity of the GB syndrome. We will see what is Guillain-Barré syndrome, what are the types and subtypes of this syndrome, and what is actually heterogeneity. GB syndrome is an acute, frequently severe, and fulminant polyradiculoneuropathy that is autoimmune in nature. It is basically the same thing as I have already told you, that it's a rapid onset muscle weakness that is damaging the peripheral nervous system of the body. So, as you can see in this diagram, GB syndrome is basically here antibody mediated damage to the Schwann cells. The Schwann cells are being attacked by the immune system. The denuded axon stimulates demyelination, and it will result, because of the remyelination, there is accumulation resulting in the onion bulb appearance. It occurs year round at a rate of between 1 and 4 cases per 100,000 annually. If we talk about the United States, around 5,000 to 6,000 cases occur per year. Males are slightly higher at risk, and adults are more frequently affected as compared to younger patients. These are the subtypes of GB syndrome. Of these 4 types, the most common and the most studied type is the acute inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, abbreviated as AIDP. Adults affected more than children in this type. 90% of the cases occur in Western world, and recovery is rapid in this type. The specificity of this type is that we find anti-GM1 antibodies in up to 50% of the cases of AIDP. It is demyelinating in nature, and what is the pathology that lies behind AIDP is that it firstly attacks on the Schwann cell surface, leading to widespread myelin damage. There is activation of macrophages and lymphocytic infiltration, which are basically causing the damage. And there is variable secondary axonal damage in AIDP. If we talk about the other forms, there are certain axonal variants as well, which include acute motor axonal neuropathy and acute motor sensory axonal neuropathy. Both these axonal variants are severe in nature. If we talk about acute motor axonal neuropathy, children and young adults are affected more in this type. It is prevalent in China and Mexico, and it may be seasonal. It is often incomplete, and if we see, the recovery is rapid, and the specificity of this type is there are anti-GD1A antibodies found in acute motor axonal neuropathy as compared to AIDP, where we were finding anti-GM1 antibodies. Electrodiagnostically, it is axonal in nature. The pathology is that first attack occurs at motor nodes of Ranvier. In AIDP, the first attack was on the Schwann cell surface. That's how we can differentiate these subtypes. The pathology is the same, that there is activation of macrophages, there is infiltration of lymphocytes, and which leads to the damage. But apart from that, there is frequent periaxonal macrophages accumulate around the axons, and they cause the damage. And the extent of axonal damage is highly variable in this type. The third type is acute motor sensory axonal neuropathy. It is also axonal in nature, and how we differentiate these two axonal variants is it occurs mostly in adults, whereas the motor axonal neuropathy was occurring in children and young adults. The recovery is slow in this subtype. It is often incomplete, and it is if we see clinically, it is closely related to Aman. Pathology is similar to that of acute motor axonal neuropathy, but the differentiating point is it also affects the sensory nerves and roots, and axonal damage is usually severe in this type. The fourth type is the Miller-Fisher syndrome. In this syndrome, there is basically it affects adults and children, but its clinical symptoms are different as compared to the other three types. The patient will present to you with ophthalmoplegia, ataxia, and areflexia. And the characteristic point is we will find anti-GQ1B antibodies. It may be axonal or it may be demyelinating in nature, and it resembles AIDP pathologically. If we talk about the heterogeneity, as we have already discussed in the last slide, we have divided it into 4 subtypes. The first one is acute inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, AIDP. Severe AIDP with secondary axonal degeneration occurs in case of GB syndrome. Then we have 2 axonal forms. Number 1 is the acute motor axonal neuropathy, and the other one is the acute motor sensory axonal neuropathy. Then there are certain rare syndromes, including the Miller-Fisher syndrome, and there are certain other forms which we will discuss in the subsequent slides. So, a range of limited or regional GBS syndromes, out of which this is Miller-Fisher syndrome, which accounts for around 5% of all cases. It is strongly associated with antibodies to the ganglioside GQ1B. It presents as rapidly evolving ataxia, areflexia of limbs without weakness, and ophthalmoplegia, and there might be pupillary paralysis as well. These are the regional and rare variants of GBS. It includes some pure sensory forms, ophthalmoplegia with anti-GQ1B antibodies as part of severe motor sensory GB syndrome, GB syndrome with severe bulbar and facial paralysis. Bulbar paralysis means these are the muscles which control chewing and swallowing actions. They are associated with antecedent cytomegalovirus infection and anti-GM2 antibodies. And then there is acute pan-dysautonomia, which means that the GB syndrome can also cause damage to the autonomic nervous system, leading to the abnormalities of the blood pressure regulation. If we see the time course of GB syndrome, the patient usually presents with after following an acute illness with gastrointestinal or respiratory illness, and they present 2 to 4 weeks following that infection. The infectivity period stays for 3 to 4 weeks, and after that there is the progression of the symptoms begins. We can detect antibodies in the serum against gangliosides, and antibodies vary according to the type of GB syndrome. Then after the progression phase, there is plateau phase. In this phase, the symptoms are persistent and unchanged, and it is followed by later by the improvement of the symptoms. After the plateau phase, around 2 to 4 weeks, recovery phase begins, and if the symptoms persist in the recovery phase, we might suspect the diagnosis because in GB syndrome, there is improvement of the symptoms. It stops after the recovery phase. And the disability or the muscle weakness that is caused by the GB syndrome persists for several years. What are the antecedent events? 70% cases of GBS occur 1 to 3 weeks after an acute infectious process. They might be usually respiratory or gastrointestinal. Culture and seroepidemiologic techniques show that 20 to 30% of all the cases occurring in North America, Europe, and Australia are usually preceded by a Campylobacter jejuni infection, human herpes virus infection, cytomegalovirus infection, or Epstein-Barr virus infection. There are certain other viruses or bacteria which can cause an antecedent event. They include HIV, hepatitis E, Mycoplasma pneumoniae. These are basically involved with in those patients who are recently vaccinated. There are certain examples of patients getting GB syndrome after a vaccination. One of those is a swine influenza vaccine that was administered widely in the United States in 1976, and many patients suffered from GB syndrome after getting this vaccination. More recent seasonal influenza vaccines appear to confer a GB risk of less than 1 per million, or meningococcal vaccines come by the name of Menactra. They do not cause an increased risk of GB syndrome. There are certain other vaccines as well, such as the older type rabies vaccine that is prepared in the nervous system tissue. It is implicated as a trigger of GBS in developing countries. The mechanism is that immunization develops against the neural antigens. GBS occurs more frequently in patients suffering from lymphoma or Hodgkin's disease, or HIV seropositive individuals, or patients with systemic lupus erythematosus. We have also seen that Campylobacter jejuni has also been implicated in the summer outbreaks of acute motor axonal neuropathy among children and young adults, especially exposed to chickens in rural China. So this was all about the types and heterogeneity of the GB syndrome. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.